Hi everyone. Excited for this session. Hi, welcome. Hiai.
Hello, y'all. Welcome. How are y'all doing tonight? Well, for me, it's tonight. I don't know what time of day it is for y'all. Given past experiences, it's probably very early in the morning. Hi, welcome. For those of you who haven't been to one of my streams before, hi, I'm Dimmer. I use they, them pronouns. Welcome. Today, we're going to be looking at video editing, specifically using free tools, because I know that video editing and production can get pretty expensive. So there's some great free tools that I use that I want to talk to y'all about. As you heard, TTS is on. You can see down in the corner the little TTS on icon. That's what we've been working on this week for Global Hack Week, February. So the messages that you type into Twitch chat will be read out loud for me. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining.
4:30.
Oh my goodness. Whew. Y'all have a certain level of dedication that I really appreciate. Thanks for showing up. We're gonna have probably a pretty chill stream. I have some mint tea here. Yeah, because we aren't going to be doing any coding this stream. We're just going to be talking about specifically video editing. With that being said, let me drop a link in chat for you, which is to the software that we're going to be using.
Cool, I edit on Premiere Pro.
Yeah. Premiere
Hey
is...
Dimmer 4:03 a.m. Pakistan.
My goodness. I really appreciate y'all showing up. Definitely some high-level dedication here. I'm going to drop a link in chat for DaVinci Resolve. There is not going to be a swag drop on the stream. I am sorry. DaVinci Resolve is a great free/premium video editing suite. It's used by many industry professionals for its like color grading capabilities and compositing and all of these like high level features. But the reason why I use it is because they have a free version for you and I, which we're allowed to use for whatever we want. It has a few limitations, and that limitation is basically no 4K, and that's about it from like what we'd be using it for. So as long as you're creating things in 1440p or 1080, which I'm doing anyway for my projects, it's super great because Premiere Pro is like a very good video editing suite, but it costs a lot of money. So unless you're sailing the high seas, so to speak, to get that software, it can get really pricey. So I was like,
GenP to make Adobe Original crack. I have NPT done much video editing, but I did do some for my YouTube on Kdenlive. It's rather simple from the likes of DaVinci. I couldn't use it, lol.
I mean, so there are like two things. One, what are you talking about, Geddes? You totally can't get software anyway other than the totally legal method directly through Adobe. I don't know what you could possibly be talking about. And then Game Changer, that is so... This is like exactly why I wanted to do...
The voice is very cool.
I'm glad. It makes me really happy. That is exactly why I wanted to run this session, is because there is a lot of software out there that is free, but it falls into either one of two categories. Either one, it is severely limited, or two, it is, I want to use the word archaic, but basically it can be difficult to use. And majority of the tutorials out there are for paid software. There is a great scene around DaVinci Resolve. Tutorials constantly being made. There's a great community to ask questions to, so I highly recommend that. But yeah, specifically talking about DaVinci Resolve today.
Everything is easy, you need dedication to learn.
I mean, maybe, but also it's hard to learn things when there isn't a large community around them and when things are out of date. I guess you could learn anything with dedication, but why not make it easier on yourself by choosing something that has more resources in the first place? Especially with DaVinci Resolve, if you find out that you really love video editing, you can basically carry that on to like a professional editing career.
Also, I have a community of video editors and artists on Discord.
As in, like, you are part of that community, or as in like you like run this community? Oh, that's hot.
I run that.
Oh my goodness, that's really cool.
https discord ggugdhcgdfrf. Yeah, self-motivation also helps along the way.
I mean, yeah, this isn't necessarily a stream about like how to learn anything, but yes, it's a combination of all of these things. From my perspective, the point of this is to talk about a tool. So I chose the tool that is like, it has the fewest barriers that you would need to cross through. Yeah, I really like, specifically when I'm learning creative tools, to learn tools that are either open source or free.
It's hard to get things moving quickly if the community around that product library is inactive.
Yeah.
Hey Dimmer, do you have a YouTube channel?
Not yet. It's something that I'm working on because I really enjoy streaming and making content and things like that. So possibly YouTube channel to come. Not there yet, but I appreciate you asking. And yeah,
just curious how our little friend laughs.
There you go. it is really hard to do things.
If you need help, you can contact me.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's hard to work on things when there isn't like a community to be able to be a part of. Yeah. So that's honestly, DaVinci Resolve is picking up a lot of steam, especially in like creator ecosystems, because it is so much less expensive than Adobe. Even if you pay for the full version, it's like $350. No, yeah, it's $300 upfront once, and then you get like all of the upgrades from there, forever. So it's a one-time payment model. It's much more like user friendly. Yeah. That being said, I think.
Did you use Runway ML?
Runway ML.
It is iVideo editor.
So, okay. I have looked into this. I haven't used it yet. I don't know how I feel about tools like this, because some of these are like, I'm going through the things right now. The reason why this scares me is because you are committing to using their system, and their AI tooling. So I'm thinking about like a lot of the things that they're talking about are specifically not for video editing.
Also,
but for,
my
like,
friend is building Figma for video editing.
my goodness, you're like really connected in the creator ecosystem. That's really cool. Oh, but Runway ML. I personally wouldn't use something like that, especially at this stage, because you're investing into a system that might not be there in the future, and especially with the things that it's advertising, they like.
You can check out that video editor Modfi video.
Green screen, motion tracking, video editing, and then in painting. I mean, they're cool tools.
Which my friend is building.
Oh my goodness. Dropping all the links. It's a cool tool, but I feel like asking AI to do those things when you're at least first starting out kind of takes away some skill and experience building that you can gain. Once you get to the point of, we've talked about this a lot this week with regards to AI, once you get to the point where you're doing something over and over again, that's where I feel like, yeah, pull an AI system in there. Make it
Just
faster.
remembered I also tried out a Penchant, another video editor, but it's even more limited than Kdenlive XT I researched when I was thinking of starting my YouTube channel.
I'm looking at OpenShot. Yeah, yep. This really is what I think of when I think of open source video editors. The user interface and user experience is really out of date. And especially with something like digital media, video editing, all of that jazz, it's changing so quickly. That it's nice to have some like up-to-date tooling. That being said, I think we should go ahead and get started.
Guys, use GenP to crack Adobe Creative Suite. You can check out GenP on Reddit.
I do appreciate you sharing this, but I don't think MLH would like it very much for us to talk about the logistics of doing that in chat. I'm gonna delete that real quick. I don't know if MLH is currently looking for...
Face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy.
The reason why is because MLH has a lot of like ongoing sponsor relationships, and I don't know if Adobe is going to be one of those sponsor relationships.
Thank you, Dimmer, for giving us the audience a voice. Was thinking of how could we talk to you people just yesterday, and here you solved it. I only do cut and paste in videos. LOL.
I mean, so... Oh my goodness. Going down the list of like giving all a voice, I'm really glad and excited to do this because my favorite part of streaming is interacting with y'all. It's the MLH community that makes this worth it. So I've been putting a lot of work into trying to figure out the best ways that I can include you in the stream so that it's more interactive rather than you just watching. Like you're here live with me, and that's like very special. And I want it to be more than just like you watching a tutorial on YouTube, because there are tons of great tutorials out there that are much more like cleanly and like quickly put together than you can do in a live format. So I was trying to give y'all a voice, add some interaction, and I'm glad you like it. And the I only do cut and paste in videos, I mean, that's a big mood. I kind of was taking notes of what I wanted to cover today, and we're going to go over quickly screen recording so you can capture information about what you've made, your project, and then we're going to talk about importing media, cutting it up, adding it to a timeline, changing audio, adding in static assets like images.
Who like Casey Neistat video?
And then we're going to talk about exporting and audio, exporting specifically for like YouTube and things like that, and then recording audio to add like a voiceover. This is going to be talking about
I do.
like specifically one type of video editing. This isn't going to be like what you do to make something like Casey Neistat. A lot of what he does is much more stylistic. Today, we're just going to be covering bare bones of like how to communicate things through video, specifically from the context of like digital hackathons. You submit a video submission. So let's go through how to do that. So you can spend more time hacking and less time trying to figure out how to edit your video.
Cool smiling face with sunglasses.
I do. Casey Neistat is one of my favorite creators of all time. I do highly agree. Okay, I'm going to drop the DaVinci Resolve link one more time in chat, so you can download that if you want to follow along.
https://
Let's skip over reading that one out loud. And let's switch over to here. I'm going to open it up. And I'm just going to create a new untitled project. Oh, wait. Rewind sound effect. First,
can your PC handle live stream and video editing?
First, I really quickly want to talk about screen recording, so that we have content to edit. But also, yeah, for those of y'all who'd been to my streams before, you would know that I had a stream that was literally held together with electrical tape, because my like old computer wasn't working very well, but it was the one I could stream off of, and I redid my stream setup to run my new computer. I'm lucky enough to have MacBook Pro with an M1 chip in it, that handles like video tasks very well. So thankfully I can live stream and video edit at the same time. Okay, so I have our video editor here, but we don't have anything to edit right now. So I just want to quickly talk about screen recording. They're kind of like two things. And really the main thing that I'm going to talk about is OBS, or Open Broadcast Software. It is what I'm using to stream right now, but also it is a great screen recording software because you can start a recording on your computer rather than going live. It works cross-platform, Windows, Linux, Mac, basically everything. And you can add audio inputs like a microphone, you can add webcams if you want to, and you can add a screen like I have here, so you can do screen recording. There are other alternatives for screen recording.
Are you going to edit your stream? Question mark.
I will get to that. What was I going to say? There are other alternatives. I know if you're on a Mac, you can use QuickTime to record your screen, and if you're on Windows, there are like 500,000 different free screen recording softwares. But OBS allows you to do a whole lot with it. Free, open source. Again, huge community. We're not going to be going over setting up OBS to screen record because, again, this can change depending on your setup.
Doritos chip.
You can literally Google that and you will get like infinite numbers of great tutorials and blog posts and things like that that'll walk you through it. That being said, yes, I probably am going to start a recording and use the existing stream setup to give us some things to work off of. Okay, looking at my notes on where we want to go. That's the basics of like, here's how you might want to record your screen. The reason why I'm not talking about that specifically is because, again, it changes so much depending on your setup. You also might have like a mobile app, and then you just screen record on your phone and edit that video and things like that. That has a bunch of moving parts depending on what you actually want to make. Great. With that, I'm going to switch back to here. And yeah, I didn't like specifically plan of like, here's the media that I'm going to be editing. So the goal of this isn't to actually be like making a finished video. The point of this is for me to basically have like a scratch pad to be able to use with y'all. What I'll do is I did, scheduling wise, the stream is like a day earlier than I really wanted it to be. I didn't realize the way that I had it ordered, because on Saturday I'm going to be talking about like how to structure a pitch of your project. But for now, I'm really quickly going to open up VS Code. And I'm basically going to pretend that I'm making a hackathon demo for the project that we've been working on, which is that like text-to-speech engine. With that being said, I'm going to quickly turn TTS off. I'm now recording this stream onto my computer. And okay, I'm just going to give like a quick introduction. I always feel self-conscious when I start recording because I know that my words are going to be recorded forever. Live streaming is so much easier. Great. Over the past week for Global Hack Week February, we've been working on our project Pycia, which allows Twitch chat messages to be read out loud using text-to-speech to add more interactivity to your live streams and allowing Twitch chat to literally get inside of your head. So that is just like a really quick intro that I will edit. Not trying to be great here. And then I'm going to switch to my screen sharing. And here I'm going to start recording again. Great, I'm now recording again. And I'm going to talk about just the couple parts of the code, and I'll highlight it to talk about what they do. So Pycia is actually a fairly simple project. It is really just made up of two parts. The first of which is getting information from Twitch to be able to read the messages. So that includes up here where we're getting the API information to be able to interact with Twitch chat through IRC. And then down here, we actually connect to IRC. And then whenever we get a message, we read it out loud using the speech synthesis utterance API that is built into most modern web browsers. Great. So that is then the second thing that we can use. And again, that's not intended to be perfect. It's just intended to give us some scratch pad that we can work off of. So that's screen recording. Now let's move on to talking about, I can close out of VS Code now, how to import our media. Oh, wait, actually. Fun little thing about OBS, it records in an MKV file type, which is super convenient for when you're recording because it basically can't crash. Wow, OBS is not liking what's happening right now. But it is not very editable. So, oh my goodness. OBS, what happened? Whew. I quickly just need to, what OBS calls remuxing. And just transfer those file types. Great, okay. There we go. Now we're into DaVinci Resolve. So I've recorded something, and now the question is, how do we import it? Quickly, I'm going to talk about DaVinci Resolve. This page right here is the page that it'll open up to by default. It's called the cut page. This is where we're going to be spending most of our time because it's a very simplified video editor for creating things quickly. But as you notice along the bottom, there are a bunch of tabs, including a media tab, the cut page, the edit page, the fusion page. I believe that's what it's called. Yep. We have our color grading page, and then we have Fairlight, which is our audio page, and then we have our deliver page. So really, theoretically, going through a project is going from left to right through these tabs, importing media, doing a rough cut, going further into editing, doing your special effects, your color grade, your sound, and then you deliver. We aren't going to be making something that complex, so we're going to be sticking mostly in the cut page here, but I wanted to give you that like brief overview so you understand that there's much more to DaVinci than we're going to be talking about today. That being said, you'll notice that right here we have the words no clips in media pool, add clips from media storage to get started. We can just right click in here and I can click import media. This is where we're going to be grabbing our footage from. And I believe it's in my movies. Yep. Okay. In my movies, I have these two MP4s, which are the two videos that we just made. And I'm going to click open. It's going to start importing them. And it asks me if I want to change the project frame rate. If you aren't super experienced with video editing, go ahead and just always click change here. For a brief explanation, the frame rate, y'all probably understand this from gaming if you're a gamer, is how many frames of information there are put in a second. And you generally want that to match in the timeline where we're going to be editing and the footage that you're going to be using. And that just changes it automatically. Great. We now have these two clips, which are in here, which is our media pool. We can see up there. And if we were to click on either of them, actually double click, we can see they open up right here and we can take a look at them. So I'm going to pause our Spotify music. And you can see we can watch it back. I should have paused my music when I was recording, but oh well. We can see we can play back each of our videos here. We have a timeline that we can scrub through and we can check to see what our things are. Now, I do want to say, if you are on a computer that struggles to video edit, you have maybe an integrated graphics card or it's a couple of years out of date, DaVinci Resolve usually is very good at running on most systems. It's one of the reasons why I really like it, because I didn't always have a good computer. But one of the things we can do, just real quickly, is up here, there's this little icon that is kind of the purple timeline and the camera. And on it, we have prefer proxy set. That's the default. I believe. Great. What we can do is if your computer is struggling, there are like two things we can do. We can select our footage, we can right click it, and then we can click generate optimized media. What it's going to do is it's going to go through and create what is called proxy media, which is basically just these videos, but with less data in them. So they're easier for your computer to use and easier for your computer to edit. When we export, it'll use the full quality, like full fat recordings. But for now, that's going to be used when we're editing. And then also up in the playback section up here, we have timeline proxy resolution. You can turn this down to half or a quarter, and it'll also make editing easier on your computer. Those are just two quick tips before we get into it, because I know that video editing can sometimes take a lot of capacity. I knew that I enjoyed video editing and live streaming and these things, so I was looking for that when I was getting a computer, but that's a privilege that I had. Great, we've now imported our media. Now let's talk about getting the information that we want out of those videos and putting them into kind of our timeline down here where we're going to be editing. So if I open up one of these again, we can see I can scrub through and I can go to here and I can hit play. And we can see that that's like the section that I want. And we could just like click and drag this down to here and grab all of it. But as long as we're here, we can use the in and out points of the media. And those are these little gray handles on the sides. And I can click and drag this. Oh my goodness, y'all can't hear this. I just realized that you cannot hear. One moment. Hey, there we go. Thankfully, we haven't been talking about audio editing, so it doesn't necessarily matter if you can hear, but now you should be able to hear everything that's happening in DaVinci Resolve. So we have these handles right here, which you can see when I'm dragging. We have one image on the left and one on the right, and that is our start and our end handles left and right. and I can drag this to over the past week, and I can listen to the audio over the past week to right there, and we can to add more interactivity to your live streams and allowing chat to literally get inside your head. Great. So I framed these two little handles on the start and the end of me talking, which is the section that I want to grab. And that is our in and our out points. And then what we can do is I can just click and drag this clip and bring it down here over the past week. And when I use play and pause, we'll talk about all of this later. You'll notice that it is just exactly what we're looking for. Rather than the whole clip, it is just the part that we want, which is super fast and easy to do, especially because usually at the beginning and the ends of your clips, you have some like dead space. So cutting that out at the beginning is super great. And then you can edit more later on, but that's a super fast way of doing it. I want to show y'all the other way of doing it, which is using your keyboard. If I press play here to listen to this video, like we talked about before, you start recording again. Great, I'm now recording again, and I'm going to talk about just the couple parts of the code, and I'll highlight it to talk about what they do. So, Picea, I found the start again, and I can use the I key on my keyboard to move that input handle to right where the red play handle is. I can go to the end. This is Utterance API that is built into most modern web browsers. And I can do O for out and do the same thing. And then the second slightly fancier thing is there's this set of buttons down here, which we can use to add the clip that we're currently talking about. Rather than just clicking and dragging it down, we can use it to place it in a specific spot. So you'll see we have Smart Insert, we have Append, we have Ripple Overwrite, we have Place on Top, and we have Source Overwrite. In this case, Append is what we're looking for, and I click that, and hey, look, it added it to the end of our timeline here. So that is, we've now imported our media into the program. We've cut off the beginning and the end, and then we've added our footage to the timeline where we're going to be editing it. And you'll notice DaVinci Resolve has a really interesting feature, which is that it looks like there are two timelines here. We have one on the top and one on the bottom. And really, they are showing the same thing, but at different zoom levels. This top one is zoomed way out so we can see the entire project all at once. And the bottom one is zoomed in so we can make smaller edits. But you'll notice that if I click and drag on that red playhead, it moves in the same for the two of them. This is convenient because let's say I'm editing something in the start of my video, that little introduction, and then I'm like, oh, what did I say at the beginning of the second part? I can just click here, or, right? I thought I'd be able to. Anyway, I can click and drag then. It's been a sec since I've used DaVinci. I can just click and drag to the start of the second clip on the big timeline, rather than needing to zoom in and out all the time. Okay. Now I am going to pause. And for those of you who've been to my live streams before, you'll notice that this is a slightly different tone and structure than I normally use. Usually, y'all are coming along with me on like a fantastical journey where I make tons of errors and we're hunting down bugs most of the time. This time, I'm like trying to like give a brief introduction to something, so I'm more teaching. And with that, I want to briefly pause and ask if anyone has questions or like things that are coming up that they want answered before we continue into like editing the clips that we've added. You can, of course, ask questions at any time, use the chat. Just wanted to give space for y'all. Okay. I know that there's usually roughly like a 10-second delay between when I say something and when y'all hear it. That's something I'm working to reduce, but not something I have the power to do right now. Okay. We now have, we've like gone through, we've recorded something.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. We've added it to the media pool, and then we've now put it on the timeline. And the timeline is where
Clear.
we're going to structure out the video. Whoa. when you just said clear, is that when... Okay, my delay is not that bad. For a sec, I thought that was because it took like 2 minutes for the stream to catch up when I was asking about questions. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. So we've now gotten our media onto our timeline. And our timeline is where we're going to be building out our video. If you think when you're watching a video, you have like the little bar at the bottom where you can see all the different parts of the video. This is that. It is another representation of the entire length of the video. And this is where we're going to be adding our video clips, where we're going to be adding audio, and then hopefully, if we have time, which we probably should, this is going pretty fast, I'm going to talk to y'all about like how to add like a logo and things like that. Great. Again, feel free to stop me if you've questions.
Is this Final Cut Pro?
This is DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to drop a link for you. Final Cut Pro is I'm pretty sure, like $500 software, isn't it?
https://
I do not want that link read out. Final Cut Pro costs an amount of money. I can't see this right now, but it's a fairly expensive software. DaVinci Resolve is free for most uses.
Oh, got it.
So Final Cut Pro costs $300. And it theoretically has some free trial of some sort, but I know it's not super accessible.
Thanks.
This is free for basically anything under 4K. As long as you aren't making a 4K video, then it'll do basically everything that you want and more. Okay, the next thing on my list to talk about is cutting on the timeline. So we've talked about cutting the beginning and end off the video and just choosing the part that you need, which, by the way, you can do multiple times. Now let's talk about cutting things out and moving things around in the middle of the video. I'm going to listen. I know I stumbled somewhere in here, and we're going to try cutting that out. So let's pause the music and listen. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcuts to use play, which would be spacebar. And pause. I see it just like if you're watching a video. There's also the J, K, and L keys. L starts moving the playhead forward. K starts moving it backward. Or J starts moving it backwards, sorry, and K pauses. So J forward, K pause, K backwards. L, K, J. Pycia is actually a fairly simple project. It is really just... So, even just there. Let's... Pycia is actually... There's that, part where I go, and there's just this maybe 1 second pause. And if you are submitting to a hackathon that has a 2-minute video length restriction, you might be over that and you might be trying to cut time. And this is one of the easiest ways that you can cut time, is cutting out the dead time when you're taking a breath or you're stuttering or things like that. So I'm going to put the playhead right after the last thing that I said, and right before the dead space. And then I'm just going to click on the scissor icon and boop. You can notice that there was that little flash. It split them. And then I'm going to hit space and I'm going to line things up. Right before I start talking again. Let's with the arrow keys, which nudges only a little bit. And then we'll hit the split key again. And now I'm going to hit delete, and we just did what's called a ripple delete. It removed that clip and smooshed. I said smooshed really weird there, but drew the two ends of the clip that we cut from together, so it's all one big thing. So now if I go back and I hit play, Pycia is actually a fairly simple. It's not perfect. We aren't going to be talking about making things perfect and hiding cuts and all of that jazz, because we're just trying to make fairly simple videos here. But we've just cut out that white space so that if you're submitting to a hackathon, you aren't spending most of your time taking breaths and things like that. That's the simplest thing of just making a cut. The other thing would be possibly reordering clips, which you can do just by picking up something on the timeline and dragging it to somewhere else. That being said, there is if you drag it over the clip like this, you're going to be cutting that clip and like cutting out part of it, which we aren't looking for. So just make sure when you're dragging things and rearranging them, you aren't like overwriting it like here, but rather you're putting it in front of like there. Pycia, over the past, so that doesn't make much sense from a video editing perspective, but I hope that makes sense from a perspective of what the UI looks like with that blue line versus overwriting something. I'm realizing that this is kind of hard right now because if I were teaching this like an in-person environment, I'd be stopping and I'd be walking around and I'd be seeing where people are at. But chances are probably most of you aren't directly following along, which is great. I often listen to tutorials and things like that to gain information without following along. But I can't see where y'all are at, and I don't know if you're understanding, not understanding, that sort of thing. So I'm going at the pace that makes sense to me, but if you think I'm going too fast, if you have questions, anything like that, feel free to stop me at any time. Use the text-to-speech, drop something in chat. Great. Okay. Let's actually record an extra piece to use here. I'm going to switch back to my face cam. And I'm going to change my audio setup so that things will get really quiet so we can talk about adjusting audio levels. So if I turn this down.
The size of the software was too large and my internet is slow, so just watching for now.
Y'all should barely be able to hear me right now, which is, oh wait, there we go. This should probably be what we're looking for. Great, you should be able to hear me, but it's probably very quiet right now. So I'm going to start recording this and talk about how like this is an example of quiet audio, which is like totally a normal thing that happens. Microphone settings often aren't perfect. And having audio that's too quiet is a very common thing when, especially at a hackathon, trying to make something fast. Let me turn it back up so y'all can hear me normally on stream. That is something that I'm going to import into OBS now, so I can talk to y'all about editing your audio levels. We're going to do the same process that we did before. First, I'm going to need to remux that recording. Okay. Also, the size of the software being too large, internet too slow, I 100% understand. Again, this is more meant to be an introduction to DaVinci Resolve because it does have a really robust community, and there are plenty of videos that'll walk you through like all of the software really well with like a sample project for you to walk through in like 40 minutes. So this is an introduction, but it's not necessarily the end all and be all of tutorials. So if you're interested, definitely do some Googling. There are a bunch of great free ones on YouTube. Okay, let me import that video.
Thank you.
It should be this, and you're very welcome. Start recording this and talk about how like this is an example of quiet audio, which is great. That is like super quiet. I'm going to drag that onto the end of our timeline here. This and talk about how, and we'll see underneath the like frames of the video, we can see that there's a waveform of the audio right there. So we can see the peaks and valleys of my voice. And I used that to edit earlier. I edited out the silence, which we could see is just a flat part. And I used the peaks, which showed me talking, to only edit out silence. And if we go over to here, we can see that in comparison, the one on the left has taller peaks and the one on the right is almost completely flat. So we want to change that. We want to make things of equal loudness if we can. And now we're going to be opening up probably the biggest, best tool on the cut page, which is right here, the inspector. And once we open that up, I don't like that it is taking up all of this space. Ba, 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 ba. I'm slightly frustrated. The last time that I used... that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. On the cut page, it takes up the whole space. Sorry, was thinking about a different part of the UI. The inspector, as you can see here, gives us a bunch of different tools. So we have transform tools, we have cropping, we have compositing, we have stabilization, lens correction, real-time, and scaling. Most of these you won't be using if you are using a screen recording, but we have this right here, which is audio, which gives us a bunch of like simple, great things that we can use for our audio. The main one right here being volume. I can turn up that volume, and we can take a look down there at the waveform size increasing and use that to first judge things. So what if we tried that? And now if I were to listen to this, start recording this, and talk about how like this is an example of quiet audio, which is, I think that's probably too loud. As we can see right here, this is showing the volume of the audio. Like totally a normal thing that happens. Microphone settings off, and it's getting really close to the top consistently. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Perfect. And having audio that's too quiet is a very common thing when, especially at a hackathon, trying to make something fast. So that still doesn't sound great because I have my audio recording set up for streaming. And I have a bunch of settings and things like that in my OBS that is making it kind of like cut in and out like this. That's so that when I'm not talking on stream, you don't hear like background noise and things like that. I didn't really think about this beforehand, but you can see that we're able to increase the volume of the audio. And then also, briefly, we have an equalizer here. I'm not going to be talking about using an equalizer right now because that is like a very specific art of like how to add to audio and cut away from audio to make it sound better. But again, there are tons of resources where you could just Google like how to use an equalizer on your voice. And there would be great tutorials on adding a couple things to this equalizer to make your voice sound better, probably looking something like that for a beginner, which can be a really great tool to have. Great. Okay. I have a couple more complicated things, more complicated. So let us really quickly, do I have PowerPoint? Yes, I do have PowerPoint. Let's see if my license is up to date. Ugh, okay, I'm not signed in. So instead, we're going to use Keynote. Can I have Keynote? Oh my goodness. I thought I had a quick explanation of what I'm doing here. The reason why I'm trying to open up PowerPoint or Keynote, or I'll probably end up using Google Slides, is because one of the things that I liked to do when I was doing hackathon projects was I would create both a thumbnail that was for DevPost, but I would also put it at the beginning and end of the video to have some sort of coherent branding. Usually because my face wasn't in those DevPost videos, because I was just focusing on like recording my audio and getting it out there. So I wanted to show you like briefly doing that. I think what I'll end up doing is I'll end up pulling an existing slide that I have from my DevPost. The reason I'm talking about like PowerPoint or Google Slides is because they're much easier to add text and images into with a much lower learning curve than a software like Photoshop or GIMP or Affinity Paint, I believe, is the competitor. Where these softwares are great and they allow you to do a whole bunch of things, but they have a slightly higher learning curve. And again, we're talking about like the basics here of how to create a demo for your project, whether that be for your resume or for a hackathon. So I'm really quickly going to go to my dev post. And I'm going to grab when it loads. Okay, here we go. Great. Okay. I just was quickly downloading an image to use for this. It's in my, if I share my screen, you can see it's in my downloads, and it just looks something like this. It was for a project that I made called Brain Dump, and you can see that this is very simple, but it gets the idea across. We're going to import this, and we're going to put it over me talking at the beginning to add a little bit of a title slide. We're going to import media just like we did before. We're going to go to my downloads, and we're going to grab gallery.jpg, and we can see it's added here like the other types of media. We're going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to show y'all really quickly something that's really nice about DaVinci Resolve. Some free editors don't allow you to do this. Most do, but some don't. I want to add this gallery image over top of what I already have. But as we've shown before, if I were to just directly put it on top, it would cut away from my existing video. And I want to keep my existing video there and just add this over top. So what I can do is I can right click here in this space above what we have here. This is one track. I can add a track, and now I have two. And I can drag this image down to the one on top, and we can see that it is covering up part of that video. And because this image isn't 16:9, we can see that it isn't covering up everything, which is a little annoying. But what I'm just going to do is I'm going to import in. I can't use a WebP. Okay. We're going to zoom it in, and we're going to talk about that. But you can see that it is now above the other video, both in terms of how it's displayed, but also in that I can edit both. Because it has these weird things on the side, and I don't really want that, I'm going to click on it, and we're going to open up the inspector, and under transform, I'm going to increase the zoom until it covers everything. But then we'll see that Brain Dump is cut off. Now it is going to be cut off because I didn't make this for this purpose. If you were making it for this purpose, you would make sure it wasn't doing that. But then I'm going to make sure that dump isn't cut off. I'm going to use position Y to move it up so that we can at least read Brain Dump and the brain is slightly cut off. But as an example, it works. So that's using zoom and position to move things around. And now if we close the inspector, we can see, hey, it's covering everything. And it doesn't look great because it's cut off again, but it's covering everything. We zoomed in, we moved it. And now if I hit play, over the past week for Global Hack Week February, we've been working on our project Pycia, which allows Twitch chat message. And we can see that when this clip stops, the thing below is showing. And you can use these tracks for different video, audio effects. You can go wild with this. It's just a nice concept to be introduced to. The other thing is sometimes, and we're going to talk about this later, we're going to talk about recording audio to layer on top as a voiceover. Because if, let's say I'm recording my screen recording and I realize like, ooh, I really don't like how I explained that. Or your programmer manages to miraculously add something new right before it ends and you want to add it to the video, but you don't have time to re-record everything. What we can do is we can freeze on one frame of the video and we can use that moving forward. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you all how to freeze frame. Let me find a spot in the video where it would be appropriate to do that. Where we're getting the API information to be able to interact with Twitch chat through IRC. And then down here, we actually connect to IRC. And then whenever we able to read the messages. So that includes up here where we're getting the API information to be able to interact with Twitch chat. To be able to read the messages. So that includes up here where we're getting the API information. So I want to stop at information, which is slightly hard because I slightly slurred my words. You came here, I say information to interact with Twitch chat, all is kind of like one thing. information to be able to interact with Twitch. But if I can stop that information to be able to leave from the API information. It's like it's to be able to interact. It looks like information, and then this is 2, and that's be able to. You'll notice I'm lining it up with the different spikes. Great. I'm going to cut. And now the question is, okay, I now want to add more to this. So I want to freeze what I currently have up on screen. And then I'll add audio underneath it to explain more about how we're getting that information, that we're using the refresh token rather than just hard coding in APIs. So to do that, I'm like 90% sure. Yes. Actually, no, we aren't. Sorry, I was just thinking about the best way to explain this. I want to draw your attention to this number right here, which is the position that the playhead is at in the video. So it always starts with 1, so we can kind of ignore that. It's time code. It's an interesting standard. You can see that we're at 0 minutes, 27 seconds, and that 17 there is 17 frames. And if I click the forward arrow key, we advance to 18 frames. And if we go back, we go to 16 frames. So I want to grab 1 frame. So we're on 17, and I'm going to go forward to 18. This isn't going to be perfect, but I'm trying to illustrate a concept. And I'm going to click cut again. And now we have this super small sliver right there that we want to freeze in place and increase to be something more. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to click change clip duration. And excuse me, I thought we could do it from the other screen. We might not be able to. We might need to go into the edit screen, which is where I am now. I'm just checking. Yeah, okay. So here, when we right click on that little clip and we do change speed, what? We can see it appears here. And we have a speed and we have a duration, or if we were to right click it and do change clip duration, we have this pop up right here, but nowhere in there does it talk about freeze framing. To do that, we need to switch over from our cut page to our edit page, like I talked about before. We're going to find, you can see that it's laid out fairly similarly. We have our media pool, we have our timeline.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, welcome. Hey, Polar Void. Here in the edit page, the main difference is we have this zoom up here where we can zoom in and out on the timeline. So I'm going to find right here this 1 frame piece that we're extending out into a freeze frame. And I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to do change clip speed. And I'm going to click on freeze frame and then change. And now this is a great example of using our secondary, our second whatchamawezit track. Goodness. Using our second track here, we can now click and drag on that and just, excuse me. There we go. Okay. Let me do it here. That would. Can I? Okay. I want to show y'all the best way of doing this, the simplest way. I do most of my work in the edit page because it's much more granular. I want to really show y'all how to do this freeze frame. In an ideal world, I'd be able to show y'all how to do that on the cut page because that's where we've been talking about everything else. That's much simpler. But in this case, we can't. So in 1 second, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we're doing here. If I click on this, we can see that we've selected this 1 frame clip that we've denoted as a freeze frame. Now,
I really disliked the different tabs in Resolve at first, but I've grown to appreciate them.
I mean, yeah, I was very annoyed by them as well, but now it actually helps me with my process of advancing from one tab to the other as a deliberate step, or to be able to separate things out so that I have a much cleaner time with it. So yeah, I also really like them, but they aren't necessarily the most beginner friendly thing in the world. That being said, I've selected this clip, and when I bring my mouse to the edges, we can notice that our like cursor is changing what it looks like. And what these tools are is it is what do they call it? Um, it's I'm blanking on their term for it. I believe it's ripple something. Basically, we can click and drag and make the clip longer or shorter. And because we've marked it as a freeze frame, it's just going to keep repeating the same frame that we used before. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to make this longer. There's probably a keyboard shortcut for this as well. And this is to be able to, as we can see, one frozen frame that is going to be repeated over and over again. Now, you'll notice that when I hit play, Twitch chat through IRC, we could hear me talking. That's because this is over top of another piece. So I'm going to click and drag to separate it out so that there's nothing underneath it. Now we have this freeze frame. Again, intentions for this. I'm not intending for you to like remember, oh, how did Dimmer walk through how to do a freeze frame? Oh, they did all of these things. I'm introducing you to concepts that you can then later Google and find tutorials when you need them. I'm not expecting you to remember everything right now. Great. So we freeze framed something, but now we don't hear anything. There's nothing under it. And
Are you able to crop videos? For example, to crop out the taskbar in a screen recording?
yep. So just like how we scaled up the image, we can also do that with a video. So here, let's say that I've decided that I don't want my face on it. We can use the inspector like we talked about before, and you can either use crop and crop left like this to cut it out, and then we can zoom up, or we could just use zoom in the first place. Crop is obviously super convenient for like cutting out parts of your video. But in this case, I'm just going to zoom it up and then move it over. Great. And you can see we've now zoomed in. So you can do both crop and zoom separately or together. Hopefully that answers your
Perfect.
question.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Now that we have this, we want to add some audio to it. So we can either like go back to our screen recording software or whatever, or use Audacity. There are plenty of great options, but also we can go to the Fairlight page. This is the dedicated audio editing tab. And here we can just record some new audio. So first, I'm going to add a new track right here that is audio 3. And I'm going to do, yeah. Yes. Yes. Sorry, took me a second. I'm going to click this R right there, which arms the track for recording. And we can see it's now asking for permission to my microphone, which apparently it's not liking. Let's see.
Video and audio I/O?
Did I miss? Yes, this probably. No. Input device. I'm going to select my microphone and I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to do a brief Google search on why that is not allowing me to arm a track for recording.
Do you use an audio interface?
I do, yes, but it is on and working, as evidenced by the fact that you can hear me right now with this microphone. Click preference setting. Okay, you were right. Under video, audio. Ah. Da-da-da. Oh, excuse me. What I'm looking for is the patch panel, which I've forgotten how to open. Because that is why we cannot currently...
Adam has arrived.
Hi, Adam. Welcome. You're at probably...
With McDonald's milkshake.
Oh. That sounds good. You're at probably the most embarrassing part, where I cannot, for the life of me, find a tool that I know exists. What?
What tool?
I'm looking for the patch panel in DaVinci Resolve. I'm now just trying to find...
Maybe try the MacBook mic and see if it works?
So it's not that I don't have the microphone. It's that... Okay, right here in input, the section that is clearly labeled input, like where a microphone input would be, we click on that and we click on input, and here we go. Now I can click on the input that we have, which is my microphone, and I can click patch. That was what we were looking for. Now, if I click this R,
LMAO.
we can both see that these are bouncing with me talking.
Oh, echo dimmer.
But also there's an echo. So if I wasn't streaming...
Sounds awesome.
That's where you turn it off. Right here. I was trying to make this point with it on.
Yeah.
But basically, this right here is bringing back to your headphones what the microphone is picking up, which
Wizard
can
of
be
Oz
great.
moment.
But also, it's so obnoxious when it is just like slightly delayed. So you have an echo and it's repeating back to you what you're trying to say. But after you've said it, so obnoxious. So you can mute right there, and then we can record, and then we can unmute and listen. So now to record, we've added our input, we've armed for recording, And now I just hit this red button, and then I start talking, and we can see that, hey, oh look, I'm recording in here. And then I can hit stop.
But why would we want to mute dimmer?
Oh my God. I mean, you might not want to, but you might also want to mute so that you don't have me talking twice as an echo. I'm going to drink more of my tea. So now we have extra audio here.
Is it croissant time? Double the dimmer.
Oh. So we've now added audio. I'm looking at like my list. This isn't my favorite type of stream to run, because I'm just trying to like teach y'all something as opposed to learning something with y'all. Again,
Do two dimmers mean two croissant Adam?
I mean, the real question is, can audio dimmer eat croissant? Oh, but I'm like going through this list trying to introduce these topics to y'all. But again, there are great tutorials out there. I needed to look one up to figure out how to patch in the input. So just knowing that these sort of things exist can give you the resources to them. Look at it later. Okay. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about.
CCWWAASSOONN.
The last thing that I wanted to talk about to get through all of the basics is this tab right here, which is exporting. So here we have kind of a bunch of things up on the screen all at once, but we can see the timeline. We can see here, these are all of the different clips in the timeline.
Reminds me of the
so we
Jason
can click on
Vine.
these and jump between them. And then we have on the left here a whole bunch of settings. Now, I'll be honest, most of these settings you can really keep as normal. So we're going to set it to a name. So Pycia demo. Bad. Because this is mostly an editing demo, not actually a demo.
February, March, April, May, June, Jason Derulo.
We have the name, and then I can hit browse to change the location. In this case, I'm just going to save it to the movies folder. And now I could probably hit add to render queue, but I want to show you a couple more things. Here we have the format, and you can switch that to whatever you feel most comfortable with. So you could switch it to MP4, AVI, or QuickTime. I would recommend QuickTime for one big reason, and that is in audio.
One, but love this one too.
I'm trying to follow what's happening in chat. Oh, multiple different cat. Sorry, that took me a second. In
meme chat.
Meme chat indeed. In video, we can choose between QuickTime or MP4, but in audio, oh, okay. Some things are slightly different, but I'm still going to stand by what I said. QuickTime is what I would recommend for a basic render, because under audio, you can move up the bit depth to 24 rather than 16. I'm not going to get into all the technical reasons why you want to do that, but basically it sounds a little less crunchy. This was an issue that I always had. So learning that I could do this helps a lot. Those are really the main things. Crunch.
What's HyperDeck?
I'm trying to. Where did you see HyperDeck? Oh, up there. So these are all different preset profiles. So I'm assuming a HyperDeck is a very specific type of like film studio like thing that you would need. You can see that there's a YouTube 1080p right here, which we could actually click on, and we can see that it gives us like
the Crunchy Mom Instagram YouTube is a 10/10. I don't think I have it.
There is on some level that might have to do with either the version that you're running. I am running like a slightly older version of DaVinci Resolve 18. It also could have to do with the computer that you're running it on. I am running it on a Mac. I don't know what you're using. It could have to do with a bunch of things, but you don't, like, we aren't going to be using it because we don't know what it is really. If someone ever asks you like, hey, can you get me a HyperDeck? Oh, okay, great. If anyone ever asks you like, hey, can you get me a HyperDeck render? Like, great, you'll have that button. So I was walking through custom export, but there is also the YouTube 1080p preset, which is super convenient for just like quickly making a video. The one thing that it doesn't have on here is that audio bit depth that I was talking about, but you can try using this, and then if you hear any like crunchiness to your audio, go and change the audio bit depth. This is what I used to use, and then I noticed in some of my hackathon submissions that the top end of my audio would kind of go, and I didn't like that, so I learned how to change that. So really, there's two options. I'm going to go back to custom, and I'm going to make the changes we talked about. Great. And then once we've changed these settings, I click add to render queue, and we can see it appears over here. Now this is
dimmer?
I mean, I'm hopefully not crunchy. I've been trying to like drink tea and rest and do all of these things, have some wellness. I got a skincare routine. I try to avoid the crunch. But the difference here in DaVinci Resolve as compared to some more simplistic video editing softwares is there's not just one big render button. There is a render queue. And this is, again, for like more complex jobs. For what we're doing, you just click add to render queue, and then I'll click render all, and it's going to go through and render this. And we'll see how badly the stream suffers because I'm rendering a video while live streaming.
They're just like 1.6K USD. No big ES.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that checks out. Film equipment is really expensive sometimes. What flavor? I'm drinking peppermint tea. With that, we can see it's completed. And if I open up my movies folder.
Love the cat. We stand mint tea.
What am I looking for? Ugh. Go. Where's movies? Ugh. This is
minty equals minty.
One thing about macOS that drives me insane is that I just want to see my whole disk. Here we go. I needed to go home. Movies. And we can see video editing demo. And it's been exported. And we can see our like image that we put there. We can see me talking. We can see the freeze frame that we added with the crop in. And then all the different things that we added. So it all rendered. Yay, congrats. That is going through all of the basics that I think are most important.
No memes?
No memes, sadly, in this. Oh, I just got... So one of the reasons why I like text-to-speech is because I can hear what's happening in chat while I'm continuing my thought instead of always looking over. And I just got that is a very good pun. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Okay.
Capital D.
That is, I believe, everything that I wanted to talk about as the essentials. There are a couple more things that I could talk about that are like a little bit fancy and spicy, but that is the basics of video editing with DaVinci Resolve.
So now 44 minutes of memes?
I mean, I'm going to do two things. One, if you haven't checked in already, I'm going to drop the check-in link for y'all. Okay, let me know. Okay, y'all should have gotten that. I meme, you meme, we all meme for dank memes, and we like spicy. So, okay, I turned off text-to-speech so I didn't read out that link.
We all meme for dank memes.
Go ahead and check out the link that I just dropped for check-in. And then the spiciness that I want to talk about is if you make a mobile app. Let me see if
Well, TTS ruined that.
I mean, yeah. It ruins many jokes.
Do you use Fusion at all?
So I have. And I'm now at a point where the answer is yes, but I don't like it. the node layout of Fusion is great for specific tasks like compositing, which is for like this is intended for like a Hollywood style, like making movies audience.
I meme, you meme, we all meme for dimmer stream.
That's very good. Rhyming, 10 out of 10. I was mostly trying to use Fusion for like animation, which
11/10
didn't work very well. It was very unwieldy. So now I'm thinking about learning After Effects specifically for that and that alone. I also have
That sounds painful.
possibly as a stream
For sure it was AI generated text.
for the future. There is a animation via TypeScript system called Motion Canvas that was created specifically for
What's your
creating
McDonald's
devlogs.
milkshake of choice?
So I'm looking into that as well. And that sounds painful. Yeah, it worked. I could get it to work, but it required creating like 5 or 6 nodes per object on screen, as opposed to like having layers and like a timeline. What's my McDonald's milkshake of choice?
Not a fan of FCPX?
FCPX. Have not heard of it. Oh, Final Cut Pro 10. Final Cut Pro 10. Yes. Sorry, I didn't understand what that stood for a sec. I personally am not. Mostly because it is an Apple exclusive. I learned all of this on a Windows
Wow,
machine.
I've been changing the milkshake topic.
I learned all of this on a Windows machine, so I didn't have access to it. And also, it's very expensive. DaVinci Resolve, like the premium version, costs roughly the same as Final Cut Pro, but you can learn everything on their free version. You can export, you can do all of the things.
Prototyper design like Framer.js.
So that is why I don't especially like...
Maybe Dimmer's favorite milkshake is FCPX.
Yes. I blend up Final Cut Pro and I slurp it down with a straw. Prototyper.design. So that's my stance on Final Cut Pro. So it's a part of Figma. Yeah, okay. This sounds great for Figma designs. Framer.js. Yeah, okay. So what I am talking about, let me pull it up.
Or if not milkshake, what's your McDonald's order of choice?
Oh my goodness, Adam, I don't know. When I haven't eaten at McDonald's in a while. The last time the last time that I did was when I was in New York, the summer of 2021, and my order of choice was whatever was discounted based on the deals of the day in their app. That was where I was at.
Have y'all seen Versal's Open Graph?
Okay. I'm gonna look that up.
Adam Drummond chicken nuggets. I'm a nugget guy. Me too.
Open Graph. Image generation? What does it do? I'm trying to figure out. I can't find. Dynamic text generated as image. In this example, your post is made up of a static SVG logo and a post title.
Chicken nuggies are the favorite of MLH stream viewers.
I mean, yeah, chicken nuggies are good. They're iconic. I don't necessarily understand what Vercel Open Graph means in this context. So if I share my screen for y'all. This is the GitHub repo for Motion Canvas. But here we go. Okay. We can see that this is what it's talking about. Visualize complex ideas programmatically. It is a procedural animation suite. Not contribute. Get started. Actually, I'm going to...
BRB gonna write a video editor.
I mean, so, okay, here's the thing. We're going to watch this video. This is now going to be a React stream. I highly recommend Artificial. I haven't tried pronouncing this out loud. They are a video game developer who was creating devlogs. They started doing game development.
Like them.
Oh, yes, I love them. This is their project. They literally went like that. They were talking about, they started doing devlogs during COVID, and they didn't like the existing
pixel art thingies, right?
Yes. They didn't like the existing software to do it, so they just went like, okay, I'll just write my own. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to drop a link to their channel in chat for y'all, because I'm trying to be an ethical React streamer here, giving credit. Let's just quickly watch this video, and we can talk more about what this means. And then after we talk about this, I will go on to the spicy little deet, which is the last thing I want to talk about with regards to Resolve, which is if you have vertical video, how can you make it look good? For like, it is not. I wish I was good at like the art stuff. They both have the technical stuff and also like the art that they do. They're amazing. After we watch this, I'm going to switch back to DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to show you, if you like make a mobile app, how you can add that like vertical screen recording into your horizontal video and make it look slightly better. Okay, I'm going to turn back on text to speech, and let's watch this video. Oh. I just want to make sure y'all can hear this.
No can hear. No can hear dimmer either.
Sorry, I was muted. That was a simple one button fix. But this really annoys me.
But can hear TTS.
Yeah, no, my audio is working, but it's basically just, it is literally like just YouTube videos. I'm going to drop this link in chat then for y'all. Basically, what he's talking about is
https://
he makes devlog videos,
those
which are showing how he like thinks about his technical problems, and thus he's showing a lot of like graphs and charts and things like that. You should really just check out this person's channel. It's very good. But this is a programmatic way of doing that sort of thing, which I am thinking about looking more into.
Manim is top tier.
So Manim is made by one blue, three blue, one brown, three brown, three blue, one brown, right?
Grant Sanderson, 3 blue, 1 brown.
Okay.
Yes.
A very specific thing though for math animation. Yeah, I haven't really looked into Manim that much. But yeah, I I really like these sort of projects. This came up because we were talking about in DaVinci Resolve, there's a page that is Fusion, which is where you do your like visual effects stuff. But it uses a node-based system, which can be pretty complicated and unwieldy.
There's also
sometimes.
Games with Gabe who did a similar thing.
I love talking to y'all about this and realizing just how many people are like, you know what, existing video editors aren't good enough. I'm just going to make my own. It's very wonderful. Okay, briefly, let's talk about the spicy. I'm going to screen record something on my phone. What do I want to record? I'm going to go to Ars Technica, the website that I always go to when we need to do something like this. And I'm quickly going to just do a quick screen recording. So that I can import that to my computer and we can talk about how to add vertical video to your horizontal video. 1 second. My phone is not having a good time. Why is it being so slow right now? It can tell that I need it. Okay. My goodness. Okay, there we go. Sorry, screen recording was not working. Okay. So I just have this website up on my phone and I'm going to screen record me scrolling on that website. As if you made this website. Great. Okay. Stop the screen recording. Then I'm going to airdrop that over. There we go.
Oh, have you tried the new handoff camera thingy?
Oh, I don't believe my phone is new enough for that. I have an iPhone 10. I might be mistaken about that though. Okay. Let us import that screen recording. Great. And if I were to go and drag this onto our timeline here, you can see that we have those big unsightly black bars. And we can see here, I dragged it over so we can see like it's not taking up the whole screen. Which when we have this video, it's kind of annoying that it's now so small. What I like to do when I'm in this situation is I will duplicate it. So now I have 2 copies, and the one on the bottom, I'm going to make bigger, and then I'm going to blur. You've probably seen this on like TikTok compilation channels, but it is fairly simple to execute. You'll see that I'm just using the inspector, like we talked about before, to increase the zoom, and then effects. I'm opening up that tab. We can close out a media pool for right now. And under filters.
Oh, TikTok.
I also don't really like TikTok. It was very bad for me. I have since resolved to basically never go on TikTok
An even
again.
better solution. Play memes behind.
I mean, yes, but we're trying to make this look at least slightly professional. In effects under DaVinci Resolve, we can grab a Gaussian blur and throw that down on top.
Memes.
And we can turn up the strength. And now look at this. Doesn't that look great? Whoa. And you can obviously tweak things and like add shadows and do all this fancy
Then
stuff.
just use professional memes?
I'm trying to think of what professional memes are, and I'm wondering, like, I'm thinking about how like
Meme
my
stream.
teachers and people like that may use stock images that
But this
just
does look
looked
very
so
cool.
awful, like clip art that was just incredibly bad. And I'm wondering what our clip art will be. Like, what will our professional memes be? But yeah, this is like the spiciest sauce that I used when I was making Hack
Any
Demo
memes when they
videos.
wear suits and tuxedos?
So that it just looks slightly nicer, and you're taking up the whole screen rather than having those big black bars. That being said, I am now
Or
going
dogs
to.
with bodies?
We have like another like maybe 17 to like 20 minutes. Does anyone have any questions about either what I've talked about or video editing or anything that we've been talking about before I close out of this and we switch to just like having a good time? Because we've
This
now
has been a
covered what I
great
wanted
intro
to.
to DaVinci. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I feel a little bit self-conscious because I am comparing myself to the people that I learned from who have these like wonderful tutorials. Actually, let me find one.
Yes, thanks. Do you ever do subtitles?
Subtitles on my demo videos. I never manually subtitle them. I usually don't have time. I have definitely thought about if I have been thinking about like streaming and YouTube and all that jazz. And I do believe that if you have the time to add subtitles, definitely do it. Like I'm going to try doing that when I release
that
things.
would be helpful, even if auto-generated.
Or are you talking about subtitles on stream? Because that is something that I can put on my list of things to try adding. I'm curious what y'all
Spicy
mean.
dimmer red exclamation mark
Either
red
on stream or
exclamation
on
mark.
videos.
Def, try it out. On your stream would help for me.
Great.
You
okay.
can scrape all videos with Whisper.
Here we go. Okay. I'm going to drop a video that is a part of a playlist in chat. This is the person that I mostly learned DaVinci from, Casey Ferris.
HTTP.
He makes wonderful tutorials on Resolve for free on YouTube. This is a 1 hour and 42-minute crash course to every part of Resolve.
It can translate to other languages too.
It's truly wonderful. Definitely check that out if you want to learn more. And in part of that link,
TTS like HTTPS yada yada yada.
Yeah, I turn it off as soon as I can so that it doesn't read all of it. As part of that link that I sent, it's part of the playlist that is all of his like beginner learn Resolve tutorials. So definitely, I'm so glad I was able to help introduce y'all to this.
Obs, let's make TTS beatbox.
I'm glad I was able to introduce y'all to this. And if you want to go further, definitely check Casey Ferris out. And there are tons of other creators, but he's the one I'd recommend as a starting point because that's where I started. Now let me go back through chat. Scraping videos with Whisper.
TTS 0 for toString equals HTTPS. Skip.
What do you mean by? You can scrape all videos with Whisper. I did a quick Google search and I couldn't find
Adam,
the Whisper
what
that
sort
you
of
were referring
slices
to.
are those?
My goodness. We've started going in chat. Oh, I was looking at this earlier today about TTS voices. I'm looking into AWS's Poly, and specifically
Python init broad.
You don't use periods. You use a colon there.
Fiona return.
Well, okay. So I'm thinking about all of this, and I'm thinking about using Poly so that we can have Brian. Brian
ML
is
model that takes video and compiles the text for the whole video. 3 Fiona. 3.
Ah, okay, I see it. Oh, it's an OpenAI project. Great. I'll look into this later. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, but Brian is the model
Yes,
that
OpenAI,
does.
my bad.
Oh no, you're perfectly fine. That does the text to speech for like most popular streamers.
Just wait until they get Scully the Manx Siri.
I don't know what that means. I'll be honest, Adam. I have no idea what you mean by that. Oh, but Brian is what does text to speech for most popular streamers. And thus people have figured out all of the weird things you can do to like speed up the voice and slow it down, and how you can make it pause, and how you can make it sound like a squirt bottle and beatbox and all of these things. So I'm looking into switching over to Brian so that I can just like, I don't know, I'm scared to give y'all a big Google Doc that is all of the ways to break TTS, but also it's kind of fun, so I don't know.
Get this voice https://youtube/QEXOX4LS90M TechWills25.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. As we're talking about this, I'm looking into subtitling for the stream. And there is Web Captioner, which, let me... I should be able to add, encode caption data into my stream, and viewers on streaming platforms like Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube can toggle the CC button on their players to optionally turn on captions. This is like exactly what I'd be looking for. So as long as we have like another like 10 to 15 minutes left on stream, I'm going to set up closed captioning with y'all, and we're going to walk through this because we covered everything I wanted to talk about with video editing, and y'all don't have any more questions, so why not? I am using OBS Studio 26 or later. The WebSocket plugin. I do have the WebSocket plugin.
Will captions work with StreamYard though? Accessibility gangwaya.
Ooh. It won't. You are right.
Also, you need one that puts key moments in the video as a summary below video.
This is, again, I'm hoping to talk to people at MLH about this, of switching my streams from StreamYard direct to Twitch so that I can have more interactivity with y'all and also have things like captions, because this is something that I really care about. So... Huh. Okay.
But what about YouTube folks then?
That's the thing. I believe that there's probably only one person watching. Let me check. Let's take a look. Hi, YouTube.
Hey, YouTube friend.
Yeah, it says one watching now, but that might honestly just be how StreamYard is streaming. I don't know. Hi, YouTube friend, if you're there, feel free to say something in chat. Hi. But YouTube usually has 1 to 2 people max watching. The main benefit of streaming to YouTube is that the recordings are automatically posted to the channel for people later, but I'm willing to edit and upload those. I imagine
their name is Chad and they watch every MLH video on YT.
I mean, I love that. I love our friend Chad. I'm willing to edit and upload my streams manually to YouTube. If that allows things like closed captioning to be turned on, it allows me to ask poll questions. It allows y'all to have better interactivity with channel points. It unlocks a whole lot of doors. It's much more difficult from like an infrastructure perspective, but I'm more than willing to set that up. It's something that I'm really interested in. So I'm going to talk to MLH about possibly...
Can't you stream to 2 things with Twitch? That's great. Thanks for looking into closed captioning. Reading the text along with listening helps me absorb the info better.
1000%. I'm really glad to be able to...
with OBS.
Can't you stream to 2 things with OBS? Possibly. I'll need to look into it. Multi-streaming usually required a server that you'd send it to. But I also know that that is changing. So I will look into that because that would solve all the problems. And yeah, I totally agree with like adding things to make them more accessible. I know me personally, I often have
Build a server to do
subtitles
it on
on.
stream, lol.
I mean, I might like that. This is kind of, I've found that the best streams in terms of
I mean, you
interactivity
could
with
still
chat.
try setting up captions. You never know. StreamYard
Oh
might
yeah,
have something.
we're still gonna do this, and we'll just see what happens. But yes, so two things. One, 1000% accessibility is great. I like try my best to make things as accessible as I can, and if there's anything that I can do to make it better, please let me know. I know that there are things that make spaces more or less accessible to me, so if I can help people feel more welcome, I always love to do that. And then the other thing is, yes, possibly.
Dimmer's gonna make their own StreamYard. Wait and see.
I mean, no, I am not. But I do, like, I've realized that the best streams that I've had with y'all are where I'm using code and tech and things like that to edit the stream itself, because then y'all have like direct input in it. And it is like so tangible. We have great
Streamed it in.
interactions. Okay. I'm going to work on adding this closed captioning. So how do I sign up?
Stream driveway.
I do like that.
If nothing else, can't you just add cat ions into the video itself?
So yes.
Sorta like the TTS on.
Oh, that's not good. I'm not using that password. I just flashed that random password to stream. Oopsie whoopsie. I really should have been working on creating an account off stream. I don't really. I kind of forgot that y'all could see everything that I was doing. Okay, great. Now I have an account with Web Captioner.
OMG, we love Will.
So then go to
We love Will just as much as we love Will.
Okay. Theoretically.
No. Word.
I can put in
now
this.
We're gonna caption your videos for you, mwahaha. We love Will just as much as we love Dimmer.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So wait. I now have and start captioning as usual. Okay, but how do I do that?
Look on the right.
Look on the right.
Captions on StreamYard.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
RIP.
Oh. Okay. So this is now
That
what it
was
would
mean of
use
them.
for the captioning. And what I'm going to try doing is... Okay.
Does it hear us? Sweet.
It does not hear you. It only hears me. I'm going to, in one moment,
Selfish captions.
I mean, I could probably set it so that it could hear you as well, but I don't know if that actually improves anything because you can read Twitch chat. You can't read what I'm saying.
Not needed. LOL. That would be cray cray.
Truly. That's not what I'm looking for. How is my...
Try something really tough.
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. https://. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It actually got that pretty well. This is like working very well.
Wow, pretty good.
Yeah.
San Virpasquingus Gogar Hurondrapas Santasilia go go go?
I am not even going to attempt
Try
to say
memes?
that.
FRE Shavakadu.
Free Shavakadu. Okay, yeah, it didn't get that. But if I were to say fresh avocado, it would probably get that. Yeah, okay. Me and my little noises
Croissant.
that I make when I'm thinking, and it took that as Honda bomb. What am I looking for? Authenticator.
You can't say poo with a P on chat.
Is that a real thing or is that a meme? I've heard that now multiple times. Okay, now I'm just hoping. No! Golly gee, everything is dying. Y'all should be able to still hear me. Yes, but...
Love the obs cam.
Yeah, okay. I'm switching. And text-to-speech is down because OBS is down. Ugh.
Say croissant for captions.
Croissant. Oh my goodness. Wait, y'all can't see that. Ugh. God, everything...
Well, we can't see captions.
Everything just died all at once. Okay. Okay. Things should be back. And now if I were to do... Oh, goodness. Ah. There we go. Croissant. 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 It gets it pretty well.
Breaks everything.
I mean, what were you expecting? I did my job. I taught y'all about what's it called? DaVinci Resolve. I did that. Everything went well. Everything was okay. Now it's just a matter of oh goodness. So, in one moment...
Baguette Eiffel Tower. So with Captioner is just a browser tab captioning whatever it's picking up?
Yep.
So I could have it displayed in a sidebar while recording my screen? Dimmer Asmer captions.
Displayed it. Yeah, actually, probably you could. So when it asked me at one point what audio source I wanted to use. I could probably change it here. What microphone, and I was able to use my exact microphone. But you might be able to use like an audio rerouting tool so that your desktop audio goes to a mic output or a mic input, and you could use this. This is actually like so much better than YouTube. Like, how is this doing it live better than YouTube's like pre-generated captions? Like, this is so good. I don't think it's gotten a single thing wrong yet.
Croissant though. Yeah, way better than YouTube.
Croissant. Okay. What I'm trying to do.
No punctuation though.
Yes, it is very much closed captioning rather than subtitling. Okay.
Good point. Still super helpful. Who wants lasagna?
My goodness. I'm trying to... How do I feel like I'm racing against the clock because I am racing against the clock.
Lasagna.
We have like
Right,
6...
because people learn differently. Yeah, cool tool. Thanks for showing it.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that...
Stop, I could ha drop my croissant.
Oh my goodness. The chat is so
Thanks.
chaotic. I'm so glad that you brought up captioning and we were able to find this, because this is like really good. Oh my goodness, it even got my slang of my cuz.
Is there more dimmer stream this week?
There is. My goodness, 1 second. I just want...
Yes, bruv, mad ting in it, fam. Magnificent.
My goodness, I can't for the life of me. Okay, what I was trying to do was get my stream key for my personal Twitch so I could go there live and we could experiment with that. But we are almost completely out of time. So what we're going to do instead is we're gonna wrap
I'm new
up.
to watching streams. How can I find out what else you'll be streaming?
Okay, so this is first I'm going to talk about like what I'm doing this week, and then I'll link to y'all the like schedule so that you can see.
Noodles are amazing.
Okay. Link dropping in chat now. This is for the Global Hack Week schedule. This is the schedule of everything happening on stream, not just me.
Hip hip dimmer.
And then to find out for me, let me open up my Google Calendar so I can see. I'm not streaming tomorrow, but I am streaming on Saturday, and you're going to get me for 3 hours straight on Saturday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm going to be talking
3
about
hours of dimmer, wow.
choosing and pitching a project. So we're going to talk about like choosing a project idea and how to structure a pitch, specifically using...
Dimmer eats dinner with a shimmer in their eyes.
Oh my goodness. I love
project.
The Twitch chat just being a combination of people being really insightful and kind and complete memery. It's perfect. Oh yeah. So 5 to 7 p.m. on Saturday Eastern Time, I'm going to be talking about like how to choose a project based on what your interests are and what you want to learn. And then we're also going to be talking about how to pitch that project, specifically using the ABT method of science communication. So and, but, therefore structure. And then right after that, from 7 to 8 p.m., I'm going to be running, I just have it written down as a mini event. What actually is it? Oh my goodness. I'm trying to look now on the schedule. Oh my goodness, it's Fake Artist Goes to New York, which will be so fun. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I thought I was doing No Light. That's going to be great. Please come 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday the 11th Eastern Time. We're going to be playing Fake Artist Goes to New York. It is one of my favorite like party games in general, and I didn't even realize we'd be playing it on stream. So those are mine, and I linked the schedule, which is where everyone's things are. Is there something right after this? Great. Will is going to be coming up right next with Hack Your Coffee with ML. I'm going to drop the link to check in for this event one last time if you haven't.
https://organize.mlh.io/participants.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, thank you so much, y'all, for coming. This has been wonderful. I'm so excited. This has been
goes to New York.
Just like a
I
great.
can so totally see this with captioner linked with the Rap Rhymer ML model. Woo, hack your coffee.
Wait, I'm turning off text to speech to finish up my little spiel. Thank you all so much for coming. This has been wonderful. Up next is Hack Your Coffee with Will. Will is one of my favorite streamers, so definitely stick around for that. It's going to be amazing. And again, thank you all so much for coming. You all are the reason why I enjoy doing this, the MLH community, your chat interactions. And yeah, I hope to see you on Saturday. With that, I'm going to leave so that Will can get on at 8. But thank you all, and bye. Happy hacking. Bye. Woo!